Let me see real quick. Everything looks good.
I don't think you can get them.
Okay.
I can reformat Windows, but yeah.
Okay.
Because if I put that key in, it takes to just log in again. Without that password, like you lose. You'd have to pay $100 for the copy.
All right, yeah. You ready? All right, let's get into it. All right, what's going on, Dragon Ball fam? It's your boy Eddie Saint here with a fellow Dragon Ball player who went to Indiana Regional this past weekend. Bought up, I told him, man, my boy got balls of steel. He bought a 5/10K leader to the tournament and ended up getting third place. So without further ado, I'll let him introduce himself and talk about his tournament experience, and then we'll get into deck profile, man.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? This your boy Michael Washington, from Team AOD. Some of y'all might know me, some of y'all might not. I'm a former Naruto player, and like I was telling Eddie, I had no intention of playing this deck. I was just literally gonna meme the tournament with Yo Bojack. My TP didn't come in, my winter TPs didn't come in, and I ended up talking to Travis, which is like I talk to Travis fairly often because we both Bulma players, and he was like, just play my Bulma list. And we got the cards, and we put a side deck together like 2 that morning, and that's what I took.
Nice, man. Let me pull it up real quick so we can get into it. I guess I gotta share my screen really quick. Let's share entire screen. Is it just window? No, I'll share entire screen. Share. Oof. Alright, perfect. So I'll pull this up. Make sure it looks good. Is it popping up? Let's see. Alright, yeah. Alright, bro. Let's get into it, man. We'll start off with the Bulma leader, man. Go over this leader real quick because a lot of people haven't seen this leader in a while. Besides, if you're in Florida, because it's like you said before, Travis Washburn does play this religiously. And he took a break. He was playing launch for a while, but I guess from the hearing of it, you and him decided to get back to the leader, man. So talk about it real quick.
Well, Bulma, of course, she's the Earthling 5K leader.
Mm-hmm.
She has a permanent. She gives all red and yellow Saiyans and Earthling blocker.
Mm-hmm.
That's her permanent.
Oh, yeah.
Then she has a auto once per turn, draw a card. That's all she does on the front side. On the back side, she has the same permanent, but her once per turn auto is draw 2 cards. When she awakens, she untap two cards. That's it. She's pretty simple, pretty bare bones, but you giving cards blocker is pretty good. Pretty good.
Yep, 100%. Especially the way you just said it. Don't get it twisted, guys. The way he described it later, realistically speaking, he can draw 3 cards and untap 2 that same turn, man. So that leader is they can get a really hefty sized hand, man. Let's start with the deck profile. I see you have the 3/3 split of the Piccolo unison and the Vegeta unison. Let's start right there.
Okay, so the theory for me, at least, behind the 3 Piccolo is on turn 2, you're gonna tap out, of course, but you have the unison, which makes your Yamcha's live, which in turn gives you another blocker, as well as controlling the board. It also gives you access to your Wolfang Fist. It also gives you a +1, so it's like having your leader on the front side. Having your leader on the back side. Because between drawing 1 for your leader and drawing 1 for Piccolo, there's your draw 2. So it helps keep your hand at a good size. And then, if your opponent happens to play counterplay, you can kill that. Yeah. So it's like that unison is, I won't say it's underrated because King Piccolo plays it, but the SPR should definitely be more than $10 right now. Let's say that.
Facts, big facts. What was your hand size like playing the Bulma leader with the Piccolo Junior leader? I mean, unison. What was like your average hand size throughout the tournament?
Probably about 10 to 11 cards.
Jesus,
and that's like the average. So
yeah, damn.
Because most of the cards you playing are just +1 blockers.
Mm-hmm.
So
makes sense. All right, let's talk about this Vegeta unit. I personally hate it. It's 2 cards in the game I hate as a Dark Really player. It's this Vegeta. They're both Unisons. It's this Vegeta Unison and Vegeta Unison. So yeah, let's talk about one out of 2 right here, which is this Vegeta Unison of Might. Man, go ahead.
Yo, this Unison is goated, bro. Like this Unison is the GOAT. Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, when it first came out, I was like for energy.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess when that came out, the format was completely different.
Yeah, it was.
And then I'm not gonna lie, I saw Travis top with it, and I'm like, okay. So I looked back into it, took it to a stage 0, the stage 0 event. They had an online event. And I ended up taking 4th. And I'm like, okay, Unis is pretty good. Mm-hmm. So I put the deck down until the regional. But what it does is it's a 4 mono red.
Mm-hmm.
His +1. I'm not gonna lie. I don't verbatim remember what the +1 or the -5 does, because
you only go for one effect, yeah.
But I think the +1.
I got you. I got to pull it right here. The +1 is activate main, draw 1 card, then choose up to 1 mono red battle card with energy cost of 2 or less in your hand and play it, which is a neg. And the -5, which is the last one, is activate main. -5 markers off of it. It's actually pretty decent, but yeah, you're not going to use that for that effect. It's if your opponent doesn't have any battle cards in play, deal 1 damage to your opponent. But the main effect, I'm reading verbatim, and you can talk about it, was a -2. And this is why I hate it's literally this in a unison, a Vegeta unison of Fury. The -2 effect, which is the activate main until the end of your opponent's next turn. If your opponent would play a battle card using a skill, it's placed in the drop area instead, which is the entire game of Dragon Ball, besides the Bulma mirror match, because you guys just tap 1 for a 1 mana, draw a card, blocker, all that good stuff, man. So yeah, go ahead and talk about that -2, man. How powerful was it for you this tournament?
Unison, this the best. This is the unison for the deck. Like,
yeah.
If you're playing Bulma, you have to play this unison. It's like it's nothing else you can play. It got to the point where my teammates who were going with me, they played red too, and they were sideboarding the unison. They're like, yo, this unison's broke.
Yeah.
And they were playing like other red decks.
Big facts.
So I'm like, y'all have to play it. So the theory is you survive to turn 4. Like after turn 4, you on easy street, you rich. You don't gotta worry about nothing else.
Yeah.
So you just play the unison, you -2 it, you go through your plays, you awaken, you defend the unison for that 1 turn, then turn 5, you're gonna drop, other cards like Bardock's and go Jetus and just add markers, and it's gonna snowball until it becomes just unwinnable for your opponent. So the only card that can really out you is Supreme Kai, and they can't play it.
Yeah, because it goes to drop instead. Yeah, the best way I could describe this, guys, it's like imagine for this like red leader specifically, Bulma, because she could defend it. Imagine this being a 4-drop food shot in a mystery. Like you cannot play the game. There's no decks in this game that just taps energy and plays a battle card. Like you literally cheer everything out. So it's really good, really solid, man. Yeah, so let's get into the rest of the deck profile. I see you have a lot of tools in this thing. Like I see you have 2 of the Videl negates, 2 of the My Earthlings, 2 of the other Videls. You have 2 of the Mummy guy bandages. You have 2 of. You see, this is something I wanted to ask you about. Cause I see you have 2 of them, right? But I also noticed you're not playing Heartfelt Pleas. I thought when I originally looked at the list, this was a Heartfelt Plea target itself. It's 2 of the SS Goku. The Legend Personified. Let's talk about that one really quick. Why did you decide to include it in there without Heartfelt Plea?
Well, so it gets to some points where you don't want to have a lot of 10Ks in your hand. You don't have 10Ks in your hand at all. Think about it. You already have Vegeta unison, and then you have Piccolo unisons that you're probably going to draw multiple of. And a plea is and then some people are honestly afraid to awaken Bulma. I understand why they're not. they're gonna outhand advantage you.
Mm.
But it was other ways you can use the Goku like to make it more optimal than Plee. Like Plee would have gave you a bigger body,
Mm.
but it's like you don't want to be stuck in. You don't want to be stuck winning your hand if you don't have the Goku on board. You know
Big
what I mean?
facts. That's what you're saying. So
And that's
what were you using the Goku for, like, throughout the tournament? Were you just using him as a
so
25K body just to swing?
he's a 25K body.
Mm.
Also, he can you can kill anything 25K or less on board with Piccolo's effect, his second effect. And then you can also send him to the drop with the Gogeta I play, the 3-drop Gogeta.
Okay. Yeah. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, and then he's also a +1 if I activate Android 17 and bring him back. So that was mostly, and he's a red Saiyan. So
Makes sense. All right, moving on to the Chi negates. I see you have 2 Violent Rays and also 2 Wolfang Fists. So, I guess, because I'm looking at your negate count, right? You have this in the main board, and in the sideboard you have 2 Final Blows. Were you not scared of running into Reboot Gohan? Or anything that's like super hyper aggressive?
nah, I would like you gotta think like you create enough blockers for Reboot Gohan. Like my thoughts on that matchup is like that matchup is free for Bulma because they can't get past the blockers. Like so that's not nothing. That Reboot Gohan is like one of the decks you probably not gonna worry about.
How about decks like Vegeta, that main secret identity? Like
You
they'll
don't
board wipe
you
you
don't
and then go
need
for
that
it.
many negates in the deck. Like you said what?
How about like decks like Vegeta that could main secret identity, board wipe you first, and then just go all aggro? How'd you combat decks like that if you were to see it?
Well, with Vegex, you got to make sure you hit a Bulma,
Mm-hmm.
a Bunny Bulma.
Yeah.
With that, you can recover a little bit of your board. It gives you 2 more blockers.
Okay.
Like I said, one of my friends who topped the event also, he's playing Vegex. We tested the matchup,
Mm-hmm.
and it seemed pretty. It was seemed 50-50, so I wasn't too worried about Vegex.
Okay.
Plus, I knew, coming into this weekend, we all knew people were gonna play a lot of Danny Wayne Mecha.
Yeah.
People were gonna play Dark Broly,
Mm-hmm.
King Cole. So nobody was really. You might have a couple people that play Vegex. So
Makes sense. Going down the list, I'm trying to find out cards that stand out. That's not normally, because I play with Travis a lot. Like every single top cut we're in, I usually end up going against either Travis or Legend, which is annoying. This is a new card. I did not see this before. It's the Son Goku off to defeat King Piccolo. Deflect triple attack. Talk about this bad boy.
So, like I said, a lot of this stuff is stuff Travis came up with,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a competent Bowman player, so I understood the logic without him explaining it to me. So, this is against decks that go wide,
Mm-hmm.
and what it does is it when he's put in play,
Mm-hmm.
he negs the board 20K, your opponent's board 20K,
Yeah.
and it adds a marker to your unison. So it just streamlines you taking advantage of the unison more. It also against King Piccolo, anything that goes wide mostly, but mostly King Piccolo, is gonna kill mostly everything on their board.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Honestly, I didn't play it once this tournament,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't take it out. Like it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So
That's big facts. Moving on to, let me see. You have the Gogeta Legend. This is obviously, the Bardock strategic mind, guys, is obviously how you keep your unison alive. I'm trying to go to the stuff that's not obvious and ask you the questions of. But like I said, I played a lot of Bulma, so I'm looking at the stuff that I haven't seen before. I see Travis super respects not only Dark Broly with the unison, but he also even has the one Bart fully unleashed. I'm guessing the logic behind that is if we already have an established board, you'd use him first, and then you'd lock him out with the Vegeta unison. Is that correct?
that's absolutely correct. That's absolutely what we're doing.
All right. A big question I want to ask you: how did you feel about the Kai Secret? Do you feel like that was the secret for the deck, or do you feel like you'd change it if you were to play this deck again in a tournament?
I feel like that's the perfect secret for the deck. Like originally, I was playing Go Hinks,
Yeah,
and
that's what I was going to ask you.
it feels good. Like
Mhm.
Go Hinks feels decent, but it gets outed by Kai. So it's like imagine spending 5 energy and then get outed by Kai. It's like
Yeah, makes sense.
so if that feels bad, so I was like, man, I don't want to deal with that.
Mhm.
So Kai it was, and honestly, it helped. Like maybe 3 out of the 6 matches, it kind of clinched the game for me.
Mhm.
So that's the perfect secret for it as of right now.
All right, perfect. One last thing in the main board. I don't think I remember Travis using this because it was an oldie, but it was like when this card first came out, it was fire. It was during search format. But I see you have them as two in here, which is that says Vegeta exploiting weakness. Man, how often do you actually play this card, or is it straight energy throughout the tournament?
Funny thing is, I may have played it more offensively
Mm.
than I did defensively.
Yeah.
But it's one of them cards that I can't see myself taking out
Mm.
because again, board's going wide. Like I had like King Piccolo is in my locals at least,
Mm.
and at the tournament it was a lot of King Piccolos also. But that's something to help control their board. You're never gonna stop King Piccolo. You're just gonna slow him down. So just slow him down enough so your blockers are more effective.
Mm. All
And
right.
that's what the exploiting weakness did for sure. It's a blocker next to board 20K, gives my leader plus 5K. So it's all advantage for me.
Makes sense. Makes sense. One thing I did notice that yes, like I said, I played him before, and
Mm-hmm.
I see take out Spike like because before when Travis like started playing this deck, he had the whole package and he started taking out. He started by taking out the Grandpa Gohans. Now I see Spike is missing. Now I see it's only down to 3 Baba and 2 bandages. How do you feel about that ratio? Do you feel like you in some games wish you had some more of the engine? You wish you increased the ratio of this, or like how do you feel about it overall? Just the 3 and 2.
Honestly, it's funny because like I said, I was talking to my friends on the way back,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, bro, like, part of me wants to take out one more bandage because I literally
What?
drew. Man, I was drawing them things like crazy this weekend, and I didn't.
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, I only played two.
that's wild.
So, but and then it only got weird because I had to play. Of course, I had to play Marquise,
Mm-hmm.
and Marquise was my only loss of the weekend. And the first game, I draw a bandage. I play the Baba, and the other bandages in my life.
Gee, that's GGB.
I'm like,
Damn.
what? I'm like,
Yeah,
well, this set's starting off terrible.
man, that's rough. I go. That's what I'm saying. You wouldn't just instead of going on to one, just maybe bump it. I don't know. Like it seems like at this time and point, like when you go to 3-2, you can find I want to say 5 other better red cards. Like one card I noticed on flip he took out, it was in his sideboard. I realized his main board was the shoe counterplay, the one that negates like the dark card black man saying stuff like that. That is completely gone now. And I'm looking at it because I know for a fact I'm not sure they were in his main board, but I know for a fact he had multiple in his sideboard to stop specifically dark card black man saying. How do you feel about the I guess the removal of that card from the deck itself? Do you feel like it was ever an issue?
No, I feel like taking it out, taking the shoe out was okay because if you look at the deck now, what do you play that's under 15K that
Yeah,
you're worried
it's
about?
nothing besides advantages essentially. Yeah, I see you
Exactly. So we
completely
cut that to
changed it up.
two.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How
Yep.
do
So
you,
you're not worried about anything,
mhm.
and I mean, if you're really worried about the food, I mean the dark power, you can always
Just
Beer's
not
chomp
play
it.
it? Yeah, that's true. But I don't need that. How do you feel? How do you go about combating Koetsukai? That's a big
So
one for this deck.
it is. Coits is
It's like
uh
kryptonite for this one.
yeah. So the way I went about it is I established enough blockers because I played assuming everybody plays Koishikai in the
Mm-hmm.
sideboard. That's the way I played my weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So when assuming that, I make sure I establish blockers as soon as possible,
Mm-hmm.
so I won't have to use a negate the turn they use Koits.
Okay.
Or if I do, I have Wolfang or I have a Violet Raise in hand, or I have enough life to be
Just
able to
take the
take.
damage.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, real quick, looking at the sideboard, let's talk about when these cards came in and what cards came out for it. The two Jiren Unisons, when did this guy come in and what did you take out for that?
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. I only sideboarded maybe 5 cards out of my side.
Bardock fully unleashed, full mission accomplished. What else?
No, so the funny thing is I sideboarded a Bardock,
Mm-hmm.
the 2 final blows, and the 2 launches. Everything like most of the sideboard was built to beat King Vegeta. I mean King Cold, which is probably our worst matchup.
Yeah, I see that with the two actual what's you say activate battle guys. These guys can't even see the name. Clash of the Mass Warriors. What did you put in Final Blow for?
Final blow was for I put it in final blow for a lot of stuff. Like I put it in versus Dark Broly.
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds weird, but I put it in so I wouldn't have to deal with the damage because, of course, Dark Broly's going to lead the attack at 30k.
100% facts.
So they're not gonna combo
Yeah.
that. Or and my thought on putting it in versus Dark Broly is on their pre turns. I hit their red Broly,
Yeah.
so they can't play it.
Yeah, makes sense.
So that was my theory on that. The denials were only for Invoker because that's another bad matchup for the deck.
Yep. This is big facts. When did the launch come in? My bad. Go ahead.
The launch was for to counter the Black Man Saiyan.
Okay.
And the Xeno Goku that makes you warp when we put a counter.
Yeah. That is a card too. I forgot about that. That does stop you. Jeez.
Yeah. So that's what that came in for. The Boris was for King Cold.
Mm-hmm.
The Jiren was for King Cold.
Yeah, King Cold hate, man. My goodness. Is that like literally your only your weakest of the matches in the entire meta?
Yeah,
King Cold?
so like me and Travis were talking about it, and he told me, he was like, you need to be weary of King Cold. And I didn't believe it at first. I'm like, man, I don't know. And then I told my teammate when we got to the Airbnb the night before, I'm like, bro, let's play the matchup. And he 2-0'd me. I'm like, yo, I didn't side, of course, but I'm like, I'm like, yo, what is going on? I'm like, and he Swift 2-0'd me. We didn't play enough, but I played and I understood. Like, okay, I know what he means. So I understood how to play after that.
What's he doing? Just
Luckily,
looping with coolers and then popping your guys with the field spell?
You gotta think about it. Like they get a lot of hand advantage. Like
Big
they get
facts.
a lot of hand advantage.
Yeah.
And then Unstoppable Invasion takes counters off your Vegeta unison.
Big facts. Yeah, that is true.
So, but on top of that, like the Vegeta unison isn't as strong in that matchup because they don't play cards for. They literally take their cost down to play them.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, they're hard casting them. So it's like that unison doesn't matter.
So this is speaking, you just put in Jiren. I see why Jiren comes in now. Yeah, I see it.
Yep. So you put a Jiren, or you established a very strong Piccolo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. So yeah, I guess we talked about the entire main board and sideboard. Yeah, it's it has changed a lot from the last time I played. But like I said, it's been an entire format since I played against him using this deck. Like I said, last format he was on launch, and I'm like, bro, I looked at him, I'm like, thank God you're on launch. I'm like, no offense to you, Travis. When I saw launch, it was a sigh of relief there. I'm like, thank God, I'm just swinging. That's it. You're taking this 30k swing. But I'm like, whenever you go back to Bulma, bro, that's when real problems come back up. And he looked at me and just laughed. He said, I got it. It's coming back. It's coming back. Yeah, I see it has changed from the previous, I guess, 2 metas ago, when he was playing it again. Yeah, I like how you guys made this. It's less vulnerable to Dark Power Black Man, saying, like you said, looking at it now, you just have literally the two bandages and a Nappa super combo. That's literally the only thing you have. I'm trying to look at all this good stuff is through a keyword skill, which is really, really good, honestly. Because now the only thing you're losing to is Quetzalcoatl. But it's just like you said, unless you're putting pressure while using Quetzalcoatl, it's not gonna matter because you'll just okay, cool. Then they get you just eat the damage, and how many Quetzalcoatls are you gonna use before you actually run out? You see what I'm saying? So, man,
exactly.
It really does make sense, man. Yeah. Any changes you'd want to make or any shout outs you want to give before we end this bad boy?
I do want to give my matchups, and the only changes I would make is maybe put the Gokus to the sideboard, the 5-drop
One
Gokus
drops?
to the sideboard.
Which ones? The five.
the
Oh
five
yeah,
drop.
yeah, yeah. That's what you're saying. The triple attack. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't use them,
Mm-hmm.
but I think you could probably take denial out because like denial is literally only for the Evoker matchup.
So you just take the L
But
on that one. You're like, hey, if you see it, it's not meant to be.
I mean, if you see, I mean, again, and it depends on your area because
Yeah.
in that indie, nobody was playing
Oh
Evoker.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Travis, yeah, the Legends always goes down to game. That is big facts. I forgot about that. We're guaranteed to see it over down here. But yeah, I feel like if you're running it just at two, yeah, you're right. You can just take it out because honestly speaking, if you're running only two, he could just rip both of them from your hands because he does have his leader ability twice, which it would make sense of what you're saying.
Yeah, so I would just move it to the sideboard. Like I would, because once like against Evoker, once you hit the unison on 4,
Mm. Oh yeah,
they
they
can't.
can't.
They really can't. They can't play the secret. They can't play the 6 drop over rival seeker. So you should be
Mm.
good. But it's a just in case. So I understood it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So what two cards did you put in place of the Goku that you're taking out?
Um. Honestly, I don't know. At this point, I like because the deck is 51 cards.
Yeah.
So I'm Vegeta. This Gogeta, I became a big fan of this weekend. So I might bump that. I might just bump that up to 3 and just leave it at 50
Mm-hmm. So the
because that
19K
that
guy, the 19 crit guy.
yeah the 3 drop Gogeta.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Makes sense.
So he's just a critical
Mm-hmm.
and you send a 20. You pay 1 red. Send a choose a red battle card 20K or more. Send it to the drop and you
Yeah,
play him from your hand and he has a marker to your unison.
yep, yep, yep. Makes sense. All right.
So outside of that, my matchups were round 1 Mecha Gabor, round 2 Red Broly, round 3 Mecha Frieza, Danny went Mecha Frieza, 3-0 at that point. Round 4 was Marquise, which frustrated me a lot because I was supposed to beat the Dark Broly matchup. But Marquise plays like this weird low to the ground version of it where he plays all these weenie cards that literally got under leader got under Vegito. So
Mm,
at that point I was like, okay, bro, like it's nothing I can do about that. Round 5, I played another Dark Broly.
mm.
Um, I beat him, and then round 6 I played Gogeta Zeno, and I beat that.
Gogeta, Xeno. That's interesting.
Yeah, he was at top table. I mean that deck is scary, bro. Like
Mm,
I won't say it's not good, but that deck is super scary. Like he put me
mm.
down to 4
Nah,
life by turn 2. So
big facts. Yeah, that deck does come out strong.
yeah.
So,
So
but you said I still want to hear how you lost against Dark Broly, bro. Like, I'm looking at this
no,
list.
so
I'm like, this list is
so
like main boarded to just beat that deck. Like, it's sometimes like your sideboard's in your main board, bro. Like, talk to us about that one and when is that boy?
so what he did. So Mark, I respect Marquise. Like he's another local. He's from my
Mm,
local scene,
yeah.
Frisco too.
Mm,
I always feel like I'm as good as them boys, and I'm just every time we go to an event together, I'm always under them, and it's so frustrating. But
yeah.
losing to Marquise is he literally like I shut down the